Welcome. My name is Nilesh Anandevanan. I'm a senior intensive care doctor at Flinders Medical Center, and I'm currently completing my Master of Digital Health at La Trobe University. Alongside my clinical role, I run the FCICM Exam Accelerator Academy, an online coaching and education platform for intensive care trainees preparing for their fellowship exams. This presentation is my submission for assignment 1 of the Digital Health Communications unit, and it covers 3 interconnected areas: my communication style profile, the logo and branding I developed for my academy, and a short introductory video. Let's get into it. The first task was to profile my communication style using the Social Styles Framework, which was first introduced by Merrill and Reed in 1981. The assessment required a primary profile of amiable, scoring around 80%, with meaningful dimensions in analytical at 60% and driver at 45%. At first glance, that combination felt contradictory. How can someone be relationship-oriented and emotionally attuned while also being precise and directive? So that tension was the starting point for this whole reflection. The key insight I took from this exercise is that my communication style is not a single fixed identity. It adapts depending on what the situation demands. And what I came to realize is that this is not a weakness. It's actually the core competency that makes clinical communication in intensive care work. Let me unpack that in more detail. The social styles model categorized my baseline as amiable, which is relationship oriented and emotionally attuned and collaborative. That tracks in family meetings, in breaking bad news, in navigating complex team dynamics. That mode is front and center. But the model captured an incomplete picture. In reality, my communication shifts in real time, depending on the clinical context. In a cardiac arrest, I am directive, clear, fast, unambiguous. In a case presentation, I am analytical, structured, precise, referenced. In an end-of-life conversation, I am deeply empathetic, patient, present, and unhurried. So a static label doesn't capture that fluidity, and that's where AI became a genuinely useful tool. I used AI to interrogate the social styles model, not just to apply it to me, but to probe its limitations. The convergence of human and artificial intelligence offers real potential here. What emerged was a reframe that felt more accurate. Contextual adaptability is not a gap in my profile, it is the profile. This shifted my orientation from trying to nail down a fixed style to understanding that situational intelligence, reading the room and adjusting, is the actual skill. The second component of this assignment was to develop a visual identity, specifically for which I have chosen a logo for the FCICM Exam Accelerator Academy. Before jumping into design, I established a clear brief drawing on brand identity principles. The brand values I wanted to communicate were credibility, clarity, and momentum, reflecting the transformation journey from exam candidate to fellow. My target audience is highly specific. FCICM trainees navigating one of the most demanding professional examinations in Australian medicine. They are smart, but time poor and skeptical of generic coaching products. So the logo needed to signal authority without being stiff and approachability without being soft. The design goal was a visual identity that could stand out in a crowded education market. Distinctive, professional, and scalable across digital and print context. This slide shows the logos in situ. I want you to just notice the overall impression before I walk you through the design decisions. There's an intentional restraint to it. It's not trying to do too much. That was deliberate. In a space crowded with overly stylized education brands, clean and confident is the differentiator. I use AI image generation to explore three distinct concepts, directions before selecting a final design. Option A took a mountain landscape motif, leaning into the journey metaphor, the ascent from candidate to fellow. There's something resonant about that framing, and it tested well aesthetically. But ultimately, it felt too generic. Mountains are overused in coaching brands. Option B went technical and precision focus, emphasizing the FCICM credential itself as the visual anchor. This spoke directly to the target audience, but it risks feeling cold or inaccessible to candidates who are already anxious about the exam. Option C used a cleaner, more aspirational framing, growth beyond the clinical role. This was the direction that most clearly bridged credibility with possibility. The AI-assisted process was genuinely useful here. It allowed rapid iteration across concept directions that would have taken significantly longer to develop manually. But I want to be clear, the brief, the selection criteria, and the final judgment were human-led. The AI was the production tool, not the creative director. The selected design is as you see, which is the FCICM Exam Accelerator Academy logo shown here. Let me walk you through why. Firstly, authority. The word mark and tagline, from chaos to clarity, immediately signal professional credibility. For a trainee who's just failed their first attempt, as I once did, they need to know they are in a safe pair of hands. The logo communicates that instantly. Secondly, clarity. The tagline is doing real work. From chaos to clarity is not generic motivational language. It maps directly from the actual experience of exam preparation, the overwhelm of the reading lists, the uncertainty of the clinical views, and the relief when structure kicks in. Third is fit. The design aligns deliberately with the FCICM brand language candidate already recognized. It is comfortably within that ecosystem, rather than positioning as an outsider alternative. And lastly, scalability. And practically, it's clean enough to work across LinkedIn thumbnails, course platforms, email signatures, and eventually print. That versatility matters for a one-person operation in its early stages. This slide shows the two production-ready variants. A dark version for digital and dark background contexts, and a light version for print and white background applications. Having both variants matter for a digital health brand. My logo will appear against light backgrounds in documents, against dark backgrounds in presentations and social media, and against image backgrounds in promotional context. Designing for both from the outset is a professional discipline that many early stage brands skip, and it costs them later. The third component of this assignment is a short introductory video covering my personal background, my clinical role, and the purpose of the FCICM Exam Accelerator Academy. As I've mentioned before, my name is Nilesh Anand Devanan, and I'm a senior ICU doctor based in Adelaide, Australia. I migrated here from Malaysia about 12 years ago, where having completed my medical training in India, and I've spent the last decade building my career in intensive care medicine here in Australia. I'm in the final year of my fellowship training, and I'll be practicing as a fully credentialed consultant intensivist from next year. Alongside my clinical work, I have developed a keen interest in research and currently have more than a dozen publications in high-impact journals around the world. I'm also currently completing a Master of Digital Health at La Trobe University because I genuinely believe the next frontier in intensive care is the integration of AI and digital tools into how we monitor, decide, and deliver care at the bedside. My goal is to sit at that intersection, ICU, digital health, and research, and help shape what that future looks like in Australian critical care. Here are some of the references that I use in my presentation, and I have also added an appendix to demonstrate the interactions between myself and AI, and a raw copy of this is also submitted as an appendix in a PDF document. To close, this assignment gave me a structured opportunity to examine how I communicate, how I brand, and how I present, and to use digital tools, including AI, to sharpen each of those dimensions. The thread connecting all three components is intentionality, knowing your style, knowing your audience, and making deliberate choices about how you show up, whether in a family meeting, a logo, or a video, is the foundation of effective digital health communication. With that, I thank you.